Hello friends, in this video tutorial let us see how to configure always on groups in SQL Server. So for this let us go to virtual machines, right? So this is our first virtual machine, which is domain controller. This is second virtual machine, which is server 1. It has got node 1, okay, as the installation. Now this is third virtual machine, which is server 2, and it has got node 2, okay. Now in order to configure the whole always on group setup on DC machine, we have got mi.local as the domain, and inside this domain we have got administrator user, and we have used this particular administrator user for doing all the configurations, okay, for installing node 1 and also node 2, okay. Now let us go and see one more thing. On the DC machine we have one share folder, okay. This is the share folder, aag_share_ folder, and inside this share folder we have another share folder, witness, okay, fine. So this is what we are going to use as the share folder, which will require as part of our setup for the always on groups, okay. Now let us come to server 1. Now between server 1 and 2, Windows failover cluster has already been configured, okay. How to do that configuration we will see in some other video tutorial, okay. So now let us go to always on groups, okay. Now we have gone to the configuration manager in both the server 1 and 2, and we have enabled always on high availability for the service for SQL Server, okay, on both the servers, okay. So now let us go to this particular always on high availability groups. Let us right click and say start new wizard, okay. So it will start this wizard. Now let us click next. Now let us provide the name always on group, okay, _01, okay. Let us provide this name. Next let us select this database, DB_test_aag, okay. Now if you have already taken a full backup of our database, then only we can configure the database for always on group, okay, fine. So I have taken the backup for all the 3 databases, so all 3 are meeting prerequisites, okay. So I will select this only one database to configure our always on group. You can also select multiple databases. Now it is already showing the current node, that is node 1, as we are in server 1. So let us add a replica, let us add server 2, okay. For node 2, the name of the instance is SQL 2014 DR, okay. So let us connect. Now let us click over here, let us make it yes, okay. Okay, now let us go to endpoints. Let us create a listener. So for listener, let us say listener 5, okay. Let us use any arbitrary port which is not in use, okay, and let us say we want to configure static IP address, okay. Now let me maximize this, okay. So let us use static IP address. Let us click this button. Let us provide the IP address as 20.0.0.21. Let us click OK. Let us click next. See, the reason why we have provided this IP address is because all these 2 servers, in fact all these 3 servers are in this particular IP range, that is they are all having 20.0.0 and then the last octet, okay. All of them are in that particular IP range. So let us click next. Now this is the share folder that it will use, okay. Now if you go to DC, then this is the share folder that it will use, okay. So let us come back, right, AAG share folder, that is what is being used. Let us click next. Okay, let us click next. Let us click finish. If you want, we can see the details. Okay, so now everything has been set up. So let us go over here. It is showing AAG1. Okay. Now our first node is primary, second node is secondary. Okay, fine. And now let us go to server 2. Let us refresh. So it will show the same things. Okay, that is first server is primary and the second one is secondary. Okay. Now let us do one thing. Let us go to server 1. Let us go to then let us go to the network connections and let us disable the LAN card. Okay, which means now server 1 has stopped. Okay, so now if you go to server 1, let us go to server 2. So now if you go to server 1 and refresh, then you will find that node 1 is now in resolving state because this particular Windows cluster is no longer able to find connection to this node. Okay, also node 2 is now primary and same thing will be visible over here. Okay, so node 1 is indicated with a red mark, which means it is not available and it is secondary, and whereas node 2 has been made as primary. Okay, so now let us do one thing. Let us bring the server up. Okay, so let us go to network settings. Let us enable the Ethernet card. So now if we refresh, okay, it will take some time. Okay, so now everything is refreshed. So now the red mark is gone, which means server 1, that is node 1, is now available and it is secondary, whereas node 2 is primary. Same thing we can see over here. So node 1 is secondary and node 2 has been made primary. So if you want to reverse the roles again, then let us go to network settings for server 2. Let us disable its Ethernet card. Okay, then once again failover will take place. Okay, once again let us go and refresh. We will be able to see that the failover has occurred. So let us refresh. It will take some time. Okay, so now the failover has already happened. The node 1 has now again been made primary. Node 2 is not available. Okay, and same information can be seen in second server also. Node 1 is primary and node 2 is in resolving state, which means it is not available, and it has been shown with a red sign also. Okay, now the last thing to do is to enable it. That is, enable the LAN card for the second server. Okay, and now the second server should again become secondary. Okay, let us go and check that in. Okay, so now the first server is primary, second server is secondary, and both are up. Okay, there is no red mark for any of the servers, and same information can be found in server 2. First node is primary, second node is secondary, and there is no red mark, which means both servers are up and running. So we have configured always on group with the help of this wizard, and we have also done testing, okay, to see whether the always on group is working fine or not. Okay, so I hope friends this video tutorial on always on groups is useful to you. Thank you.